It was supposed to be impossible. The United States government, bound by law, bound by the Constitution, bound by the will of the American people, secretly selling weapons to a country it had publicly declared an enemy, and then using that money to fund a war Congress had explicitly voted to stop. What you are about to hear is not a conspiracy theory. It is documented, declassified, and far darker than most people were ever told. The year was 1986. Ronald Reagan was one of the most popular presidents in modern American history. His image was built on strength, clarity, and an unwavering moral line between America and its enemies. Iran was on the wrong side of that line. Publicly, the administration had called Iran a state sponsor of terrorism. Publicly, Reagan had told the world that the United States would never negotiate with terrorists, never arm them, never give them an inch. But behind closed doors, in rooms that did not officially exist, something else entirely was happening. Senior officials inside the White House had been secretly arranging weapons sales to Iran. The same Iran holding American hostages, the same Iran the administration had been warning the world about. The justification, spoken only in whispers, was that the weapons might buy goodwill, might help free the hostages. But there was a second layer to this operation, one that was never supposed to see daylight. The profits from those weapons sales were being siphoned off, quietly, carefully, and then funneled thousands of miles away to Nicaragua, to a rebel fighting force called the Contras, who were battling the Sandinista government in a war Congress had voted to defund. The Boland Amendment, a law passed by the United States Congress, explicitly prohibited federal funds from being used to support the Contras. The White House had found a way around it, and the man at the center of the operation was a decorated Marine lieutenant colonel named Oliver North, working directly from a basement office inside the National Security Council. But what happened next shocked everyone. In November 1986, a Lebanese magazine published a story that barely registered at first. It claimed the United States had been secretly shipping weapons to Iran. The White House dismissed it, then the story wouldn't die. Journalists pulled at the thread. Congressional investigators pulled harder. And then, almost unbelievably, a cargo plane carrying weapons to the Contras was shot down over Nicaragua. The surviving crew member, Eugene Hasenfuss, was captured. He talked. The walls began to close. Attorney General Edwin Meese announced an internal review. What his team found inside Oliver North's files was staggering. Documents, memos, financial records, a paper trail connecting the Iranian arms sales directly to the Contra funding. Someone inside already knew the danger, and in the days before investigators arrived, thousands of documents were shredded. Oliver North and his secretary Fawn Hall worked through the night. Pages and pages of evidence destroyed, fed into machines, gone forever. Or so they believed. Reagan went on national television. He told the American people he had not traded arms for hostages. Weeks later, he returned to the same podium and said the facts had told him otherwise. The country watched a president contradict himself in real time. The question that hung in the air, the question that still lingers, is how much Ronald Reagan truly knew, and when he knew it, the investigations that followed were unlike anything Washington had seen since Watergate. Congressional hearings, a special prosecutor, 14 administration officials indicted, 11 convicted. Oliver North himself was convicted on 3 felony counts and then had those convictions overturned on a legal technicality. The men who had dismantled the rule of law from inside the White House walked free. Some of them returned to positions of influence in future administration. The truth was far darker than expected, because the Iran-Contra affair was never just about weapons or money or hostages. It was about something more fundamental, the question of whether the people elected to lead a democracy believed they were above the laws of that democracy. Senior officials had decided, privately, that they knew better than Congress, better than the American people, better than the Constitution itself. They had constructed a secret government within the government, operating in the shadows, making decisions that affected thousands of lives, answerable to no one. And the most chilling part, it nearly worked. Had it not been for a Lebanese magazine, a downed plane, and a captured crew member, the operation might have continued indefinitely. The documents would have been shredded on schedule. The story would have stayed buried. The public would never have known that the officials standing at podiums talking about American values were simultaneously running covert operations that shredded those values behind closed doors. Some questions were never fully answered. The full extent of Reagan's personal knowledge remains disputed to this day. The complete financial records were never recovered, and certain figures connected to the operation, their roles never fully explained, moved quietly on to other chapters of American power. What we are left with is not just a political scandal. It is a warning, a documented, undeniable proof that the machinery of government can be turned inward, against its own laws, against its own people, operating in darkness while waving the flag in the light. The White House secret that nearly brought down a presidency did not end with the hearings. It ended with a question that no investigation ever fully put to rest: that if they could do all of this, and almost get away with it, what else have we never been told?